It's on my to-do list to watch the recording, but I haven't got around to it yet to see your performance, but it's on my list.
Yeah, we only had 5 people resign, so it went pretty well,
Yeah. Just keep it under 30 minutes, I hope,
It was probably pretty close, it wasn't by your standards, but it was somewhere in there.
Okay.
There were
Any
more
than
towards
30
change orders.
Yeah. Any more than 30 minutes, Bob's texting me under the table, so I gotta. I think we're gonna should have a quorum. Hey, Jeff, filling in for you pitch hitting tonight?
Hey there. Nope, he's
Oh, okay.
getting on now. I'm just back up as
Okay,
usual.
sure. Got it. Wasn't sure.
George, it was exactly 30 minutes.
Oh,
I just checked the minutes.
I look like I'm in cell block C here. I notice there's nothing on the wall,
Oh. I'd say put the blur feature on, but it wouldn't make any difference.
No, yeah. It might be on.
Let's see, do we have a quorum so far? Let's see. No, not yet. One more. We got one more.
Like Tina said she would not be able to attend.
Right, I saw that. And Amanda said she was going to be traveling, but if I have to, I could call her. Let's see here. Let me see here if we.
Same thing for Bob, but Bob may have been a reception issue.
Give me another 2 minutes. So yeah, I've got Amanda's phone number if we have to put her on the call.
Is it 5 or is it 4? I can't remember if there was 7 full members or what the.
It was 7 with one alternate, which was Tina. So I think we're fine.
Good. Okay, perfect.
Well, Tina's on as well, so let me transfer her.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect.
No, even better.
Yeah, an abundance of riches here. We go. I'll let Amanda know she doesn't have to multitask. Hey, Tina, can you hear us?
I can. Let's hope that the surf club Wi-Fi say it.
Well, we won't make too many motions you have to vote on. Let's see. So it is 5:34. Call the meeting to order. Item number 2, public comment. Any public comment?
We have one attendee, Alex Province. But he doesn't have his hands raised, so I think we're
Okay.
all.
I assume he's just listening in. Okay. Good. Item number 3, approval of prior minutes, July 15th, 2024. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept them.
Do we have a second? Sharon, she's the winner. I'd call a vote. I'm
Aye.
abstaining, so since it wasn't here, but all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Moving on, old business, none. New business. Item number 4, architects update. Justin, you gonna take us through this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the building committee. You have a series of weekly reports in your packet. I'll just summarize some of the action that's happened since the last time that we met. We've had, since the last time we've met, we've had 18 additional construction RFIs for a total of 122 and 22 additional submittals for a total of 410. So still kind of at the tail end of the crush of a lot of this high volume of submittals and clarifying RFIs, et cetera. We continue to be working with Gilbane and Colliers to address the hot items and attend project meetings and coordination meetings. We've listed the meetings that we've held. I will add one to this list, which was our second FF&E meeting last week. That went well, and we have our next one scheduled for 2 weeks. And then the week following that, we will have a technology and playscape meeting. So all of this is shaping up for documentation and approvals into the fall, so that we can schedule our last phase PCR meeting. So more to come on that as we move along here. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to report. We'll be able to chime in on some of the procurement draft motions to help you understand where some of these change orders are coming from, et cetera.
Got it. Thanks, Justin.
Yep.
Moving on to the second part of 4B. Robert, you want to give us a CM update?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a couple things to start off before I share a couple photos. Just a quick update to some of the stuff we don't always talk about, but the MEP coordination effort that we've been undergoing for the last few months, hopefully should be wrapping up this month towards the end of August. So just so you know, that's all the duct work and the piping and making sure there's a plan in place and everything fits. So as we start finishing the steel, start wrapping up the building and closing it in with the roof and the envelope, we're ready to start putting in hangers and, you know, move right into that interior fit out. So that's kind of something that happens in the background, but was definitely worth noting and letting you guys know that it's been progressing and scheduled to wrap up soon. Another item that we hit on this just recently that's kind of worth noting was we had our exterior skin contractors come in. So the mason, the roofer, the carpenter, and the window contractor, they came in and we started looking at their schedule and their coordination to make sure that we have the right assumptions for sequences at certain areas, and this to make sure that the communication's there and everyone knows when we're looking for them to mobilize and how we want them to progress. So we took a hard look at area A, the main level A, which is where we're going to be starting in early September. We'll have another meeting towards the end of next week with them to take a deeper dive into the area B, the second half of the building. And like I said, just making sure everyone's coordinated and we have clear expectations on what we're looking for the mobilization. So that's always a good meeting to have, gets everyone's kind of thinking about what they need to do and making sure we have all the materials we need ordered and that none of the lead times or any of the promise dates have changed. Outside of that, just from a general construction update, we are planning to be wrapping up the road work this month as planned. So we basically are past our gate A, and I don't have any pictures of this, but we're down through gate A. So we're from Daniel Hand High School all the way down Mungertown Road. And we should be able to kind of wrap up the road patching this week. Peter, we did put some topsoil across the street at that one neighbor that had approached you. There was a little small looked like tire track for about 5 or 6 feet. So we have plenty of topsoil. Luckily, we put some clean topsoil and filled in that little rut. Might have been from the mailman. I can't confirm nor deny that, but it lined up perfectly with as you went by and dropped in the mail. But outside of that, let me go ahead and share my screen at this point. So we didn't fly the drone since the last building committee meeting, but I do have actually, look at that. I just turned off my video instead of sharing my screen. I apologize. Okay, hopefully everyone can see this now. But what we have here, so this is standing in area A. This is the courtyard in area A, and you can see we completed both sections of the slab, so we're substantially complete with the slab on grade for area A. And it's a little hard to see, but you can see the steel in the background, and then these are actually the 2 big trusses that are by the cafeteria, they actually extend into area A. So on the next photo here, apologize. You can sort of see that some of the steel sequence actually extends into A. So we're starting to work into that next area in the main area A of the building. This is a good photo showing that we have we're pushing the wrap up decking on main level B. So that's a big milestone for us as we're looking to right around 8/19 get people onto this deck so we can start putting in hangers and start that kind of preliminary MEP work that's needed for the lower level B. And then the last photo is just kind of a cool one. Kind of you can see how like with the beams up above and then kind of looking to the right. So we're working and pulling the steel onto A over on the right side too. If you look at it, it kind of does a C with these two trusses and this higher level roof here. So we've kind of wrapped that higher level, and we'll be wrapping up this main level decking here. And then you can see we have decking landed for the roof. So the next step is to jump up on the roof and really push out that decking. Apologize, I have a little bit of a cold, but overall we're on schedule. We're pushing through. We did work Saturday because we had a little bit of that rain last week. So even early on, as we hit any of those little weather snafus, we're already trying to push ahead and make up any day we lose on the rain already as soon as possible. And from there, I'll turn it over and see if there's any questions or comments.
Any update on the switchgear?
It's still tracking the same. So we are still looking at that towards the end of 2024. We did receive the generator. So the generator is actually up in South Windsor. So that shipped overseas, came over into Georgia and went up to the riggers. So that was a good point to mention that showed up last week. But as far as switchgear, that still seems to be holding. We were looking at mineral oil as kind of a potential headache as far as finishing up some framing and sheetrock inside. That actually seems to be improving. So we have some material that's actually being put aside now, which is a good amount. And then we're kind of expecting the rest of it to arrive before it becomes a schedule constraint. So that was good news on that item as well.
Great. Any other questions for Robert?
Great.
Other than it looks great. Looks like you guys are making some really good progress.
Beautiful. So with that, move it over to 4C. Adam, you're up.
I'll start off just while Rob was talking that he didn't have a photo of the road. I happened to take one the other day, so you can see the roadway in all of its glory where the water line ends. So figured I'd share that. Just kind of to mimic what Rob was talking about earlier in terms of things kind of behind the scenes that we don't always discuss. A couple of things that the team is working on. We're getting through and looking to get the final signatures on our first state change order. So just in case any of you aren't familiar with that, as you go through the project, you obviously collect the ATPs that get approved here, and those get combined into change orders. And then Gilbane cuts individual change orders to their subcontractors. As you move through the project, you submit those in batches to the state for the state to review to determine eligibility. And so it's, all three of your major consultants are pretty well versed in eligible versus ineligible. So there's not really surprises that we're expecting necessarily, but it is a process you go through. So that way you don't get to the end of the job and find out you forgot to submit a change order. It becomes ineligible strictly because you missed the time frame on submitting it. So we're getting the first one wrapped up here, looking to submit this week, and then we'll just keep plugging along, and that happens in the background with the consultant team and the superintendent and the director of finance. In a similar fashion, Kyler's been working with town finance throughout the project, but it becomes increasingly important in construction to do reimbursement requests, especially as you're approving some of these multi-million-dollar pay applications for the contracting team. About usually the cadence is about every 2 months to gather up invoices, get them packaged up and submit them to the state through town finance, and then the town gets reimbursed for 20% of, or was it 26? I forgot what the reimbursement rate is off the top of my head, but get reimbursed for the invoices submitted. So that way you get a consistent cash flow, and it's not just wait to the end of the job and get this massive check. It helps with town financing and the amount of bonding that needs to occur on the town side. So that continues to happen, and we just submitted another one July 31st for the last 2 months worth of invoices. 2 other small points. We're trying to put the bow on some of the Eversource coordination, both in terms of there's an easement required as part of getting new power to the site, as well as some tree trimming. So that's just some side coordination that we're doing with the utility. That's part of the job. And then finally, working on ironing out the date for beams going over to Jeffrey School for staff and students to come and sign those. And then looking to hoist those, that topping out ceremony beams. I think the last I heard earlier today was August 20th. Not intended to be a grand ceremony from my understanding, but basically, students and staff get to sign the beams when they can over at Jeffrey School, and then whatever town staff are available to come see it hoisted into place, they can do that, but not as large an event as the groundbreaking ceremony. With that, that's the general updates I have. If anyone has any questions before we move into ATPs? All right, then let me share my screen here, and I think we can do our typical go through the ATPs, and then I'll show the draft motions up on the screen. First item here is ATP 20. This one and 23 are a bit linked, so I'll do those 2 first. This one is for a $3,400 ad for upsizing feeders to one of the panels. And then it is tied to, while reviewing that one, the design team observed some credits that were possible for relocating some of the panels and saving on some material. So that is a credit for $5,400 compared to the ad for $3,430. Justin, anything you want to add to that?
No, I would just add that both ATP 20 and ATP 21 were the result of coordination between phase 1 and phase 2. In order to, for ATP 20, there was a coordination study that occurred with the phase 2 documents that required this upsize in feeders. And ATP 21, which Adam did not go over, it's an ad for an elevator disconnect switch that was not part of the phase 1 documents as part of that. So that is a retroactive application to the phase 1 work. And the credit is pretty straightforward. Due to relocation of one of these panel boards, we were able to reduce the rating on the cable, which resulted in the credit.
I'll show 20, since Justin brought it up, I'll show 21, and then I'll pause to see if there's any questions. 21, as Justin mentioned, was the elevator disconnect that was not in the early packages. So it needs to get added into the project for $47.84. So I'll pause there. Any questions on ATPs 20, 21, or 23? Okay. ATP 24, this was some coordination that was done with the school administration, Dr. Cook, assistant superintendent, and the principal. with regard to additional millwork and casework cubbies for the pre-K rooms, to help them align with how many cubbies are going to be in some of the other rooms. So that way, if down the line, some of those rooms want to change from pre-K to some other use, they'll have the same number of cubbies, and to help with some of the interchangeability. It's kind of similar to that toilet height scope that we reviewed a little while back. Similar intent behind this one. It is a bit of a larger amount at 43,000. We did Tecton, Gilbane, and Colliers did review this, and as we do all ATPs, but kind of did a little bit of reverse engineering against some of the unit pricing for some of the casework that was submitted when it was being bid. And this was basically in line with that. So it's a reasonable price for what is being requested through the school from the school administration. Any questions on this one? And then finally, we have ATP 25 for just over 6,000. This was for some additional fire alarms that were required, as was issued by Bulletin 11. Justin, you want to talk to this one?
Yeah, this was 5 locations of speakers and speaker strobes that were added to classrooms that were not in the documents. This was the result of an RFI. They're needed and they're necessary for the safety and of egress. So this is the cost to add those into the project.
But we never bought them before, right? They just weren't in the project.
Correct.
So
We
this-
would have liked to have had them in the project.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't buy them before. So this is a pure betterment.
Yes.
Any other questions?
So let me, can you see the draft motions?
Yep.
So one for each of the ATPs.
Would you like me to read them?
That would be wonderful.
Okay, I will do that. Motion to approve ATP 20 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $3,430 for the upsize and electrical feeders per RFI 108.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
Motion to approve ATP 21 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $4,784 for the elevator disconnect switch.
Do we
Second
have a
that.
second? Yep. Thanks, Woody. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Motion to approve ATP 23 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract for a credit in the amount of $5,482 for the relocating of electrical panel from room M56 to room L27.
Do we have a
I'll-
second?
I'll second that, yes.
Thank you, Woody. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to approve ATP 24 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $43,271 for the additional millwork cubbies in the pre-K rooms per school administration request.
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 25 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $6,023 for additional fire alarm speakers and strobes per Bulletin 11.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Graham, if you're fine, we can roll right into
Yep.
invoices. Item
Bring it.
number
Yep.
6.
Perfect.
So a fairly simplistic invoice packet for just over 21,000, featuring the monthly bill from Colliers for this past month of June, or 2 months ago, I should say. 3 invoices from BVH. We had to coordinate with them to make sure that some of the items that they were requesting got checks boxes were filled on those. So now that they have been, we can release those invoices for payment. Langen for soil monitoring, and then the every couple of months, we have the town facilities billing for Raquel's time for, like I said, the total of $21,783.53.
Is this the last bill for Langdon, or is there gonna be more?
I think there's one more cleanup bill. So the last time we met, there was an increase in their authorization that contemplated this invoice and then one final one when they cleaned up their letter, which I just got a draft of earlier this afternoon. So there'll be one more for Langen. Should be a small one though.
Perfect. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I make the motion to approve invoice package dated 5/8/5/24, including invoices from Colliers, BVH, Langen, and the town of Madison for the total approval of $21,783.53.
Do we have a second?
Sure. Be consistent.
Make the minutes a lot easier, obviously. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Beautiful. That concludes that segment. Moving on to item 7, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Does anyone have their hands raised?
No hands raised.
Thank you. Item 8, remarks. Does anyone have any closing remarks?
I don't have any remarks. I just was curious as to when some of the decisions about what would be added to the project would be decided by the Board of Selectmen.
I think the town is still looking through the Paulson budget and estimates right now. So until that's resolved, we're probably not going to be able to make any decisions.
Any
So-
feeling on timing?
I know they're working on the estimates now, so I'm hoping within the next 30 days, 30 to 45 days, that more
Right.
clarity. But as you know, it's estimates and budgets are very hard to, how much is enough, how accurate is inaccurate enough of an estimate. You know what I mean? You've lived it.
Yep.
So but
Thank
hopefully
you.
we're getting closer.
Right. Thanks, Fran.
No problem.
Mr. Chair, I probably should have brought this up during my update, but just, I wanted to alert the committee that I will be out, on the date of our next committee, meeting. So either Jeff Wazinski or Tim Mayu, who, from our office will be attending in my place. So you'll be in good hands.
I hope you're going somewhere fun and not a public hearing for something else.
I'm going to Yosemite National Park, so I'm very excited.
Nice.
Good choice. Very nice.
Yes.
I hear the wildfires aren't as bad.
They're to the north and to the south. So hopefully they stay there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll miss you, but I'm sure Jeff or someone else will do yeoman's duty in your place. Any other comments? So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll do that.
It's been hot. Woody, bring us home. Second.
Sure. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yep.
Thanks, everything.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Stay